You know, we all know that one person. We have that one person in our life that's constantly disgruntled. Whether it's a coworker, a family member, you know, a friend. But we have at least one person in our lives that continuously brings us down. And you know, when it comes to coworkers, they're the most difficult ones to get away from. They're the most difficult ones to deal with. And that's because we don't get to decide who gets to stay and who gets to go. We don't get to determine who it is that we're actually working with all of the time. If we're a member of a team, then we want to be a team player. We want to carry our load. We want to do our part. And we want to be a part of the overall project. And we want to do it with a positive mindset, a positive heart set, and apply our best to that project that we're all working together to achieve. Welcome back to another episode of Sweat Talk. My name is Chad. So you know that it's funny because we all have at least that one coworker, you know, that walks around and they're just disgruntled. Their home life sucks. So then they bring their terrible home life to work, you know? And what's funny is they all look the same. Like, they all have similar attributes. They have similar attributes in their personality, their physique, their stature. Like, what's super hilarious is there's a movie from the late 90s, early 2000s. It's one of my all-time favorite movies, if not my favorite all-time movie. It's called Office Space. And they nailed every aspect of like the office work environment down to a T. And I don't think that they missed a single aspect in that movie. So if you haven't seen Office Space, it's an oldie, but man, is it a goodie. And it's still relevant to this day. Definitely one of the most underrated films that's ever been produced. But in there, you know, there's several different types of characters that are in the office work environment. And there's that one dude who he just cannot control his emotions. You know, he's somewhat short, he's overweight, but he walks around with his chest puffed out. He's balding, has a beard, wears glasses, probably a diabetic, but he has they have such a lack of self-control, such a lack of control, emotional control, that they just let it go. And they don't think about the consequences of the other people on the team or the other people around them. All they know is their wife is probably mean to them, if their wife even likes them. And that's part of why their home life sucks. But you only know this because when they show up to work, all they do is they talk shit about their spouse. You know, that middle-aged woman that likes to walk around the office and just gossip, right? She puts on a smile and pretends to be everybody's friend, but then as soon as you turn around, and she's talking tons of shit about you, always up on the office drama, short, overweight, miserable. But she's going to tell you that she's not. She's going to tell you that she's got her shit together or that she's perfectly happy. Meanwhile, she's overweight and she's on a gauntlet of mood stabilizers and antidepressants. But like, what's crazy is you can pinpoint these types of people. Now, the guy on that Office Space movie that I'm talking about, if you go and watch it, which, like I said, I highly recommend you do, he's the guy that has people skills. He thinks that he has people skills. But the reality is he's one of the most impersonable people that works there, that is on that team. They're incapable of actually legitimately reading the crowd or reading the audience. They're not able to see how bad they bring down the audience. They think that it's normal or that people actually enjoy it, because sometimes they're able to get a chuckle out of it. So then we perpetually encourage that behavior by chuckling and just kind of going with whatever that piss poor attitude is. But then sometimes the mood is just brought down to the point where you're like, man, what the hell is wrong with you? So then, because we have to see this person every single day and we don't get to choose whether they come or go or whether we come and go, then we just put up with it. And we forget how important our job actually is, how important our job is to our livelihood. Hello. we forget about how excited we were when we first got that job. We forget about how excited we were for that opportunity when it was presented to us. And it's because one person wants to walk around and be disgruntled instead of being that person that jazzes everybody up and becomes excited for what is to come, or excited to achieve this project and this common goal with one another. Because you see, when we let that person go, when we walk away from that person, then we're going to gain tons and tons of respect. Hello. Because for many of us, there's not many positions or not many jobs, JOBs, just over brokes, where we actually physically have to be around these people nonstop, just like our family members, just like our friends, the people, the acquaintances that we grew up with. There's not many situations where we legitimately have to be around them all the time, all day, every day. You know, that if it's a coworker, yeah, unfortunately there will be times where we have to see them. There will be times where we have to interact with them. You know, and then we have the person that can dish out the joke, but they can't take the joke. You know, they sit around, they think it's funny to talk shit to you. They'll say something about you being overweight. They'll say something about the way you're dressed. They'll talk shit about your shoes. Talk shit about your hair. Maybe you're super stressed out. You didn't have time to wake up and take a shower before you went to work. That happens. They might talk shit about that. But then when you go to give it back to them, they lose their shit. You could give them the exact same joke that they just gave you the day before, and they're gonna get upset. Suddenly, it's not okay. Then we have the victim. You know, the victim, they're gonna wander around and blame everything, all of their life woes on everybody else. They're going to constantly say that nothing's their fault. They can't get ahead. They're going to seek sympathy from you. They're going to perpetually bring down the mood because they can't figure out their own life problems, because they're not willing or strong enough to look themselves in the mirror to actually see their part in the miserable existence that they call life. And we keep these people around. So in the work environment, I think that's probably the most relevant to this topic, because we don't get to choose who our team members are. We don't get to choose who our coworkers are. That's up to our boss. Our boss is the one that's going to decide. And we don't speak up or say anything to this person because we're always afraid of what they're going to say. We don't want to deal with a backlash. For some reason, we think that it's easier to just put up with their shit and listen to it, or whatever. Let them go on their tangent. Let these people be rude or be victims and constantly bring down the mood. Let them talk shit to us whenever the hell they want to. And we don't say anything to them. We just take it. Because at the time, in the moment, it seems easier than going head on into that conflict. But what's easier? Having a conflict once and calling them out on their bullshit, or dealing with it every single day, realizing and understanding that these people are bringing down your everyday life. Because you see, it's all about the hard that you want to, that you are willing to deal with. Are you willing to deal with hating your job every day, day in, day out, because of one person? Or are you good with stepping up and going into that conflict head on and giving that person back the same bullshit that they're dishing out? Or are you willing and able to just simply limit your interaction and the time that you have to spend with these people? Because there's not many situations in your job or in your life where you legitimately have to be with this person nonstop. And you know, every job, every life situation, every relative, your interactions are going to be limited. But they're only going to be limited if you're willing to make them limited. That's on you. If you choose to constantly be around this person, then that's on you. If you choose to sit down in lunch in the break room instead of going to your cubicle or going to your car and eating by yourself, putting on some nice Zen music to relax you and calm you down, putting on some headphones, right? Get some Raycons, some AirPods, something like that, and just go sitting by yourself, deep in thought, and meditate for a minute. Just take 5-10 minutes out of your day and meditate for a minute to calm your mind. And when you do that, you're going to be far more prepared to deal with that person's shit for that limited time where you have to interact with them. if it's a family member or a friend or a former friend, an acquaintance, whatever, then that's on you. If you keep them around, when you deal with them, then that's on you. Now, I'm not saying that you need to be an asshole. I'm not saying to be an asshole, because we can do this tactfully. You know, when I tell somebody to go fuck themselves, they don't realize that I just told them to fuck themselves until an hour or two later. Hello? Hey. It takes time, right? When you tactfully learn how to tell somebody to just go screw themselves, it's an incredible thing. You know, when we approach the situation with empathy, because we know that their wife or their husband isn't nice to them, or for whatever reason maybe their childhood sucked growing up, or maybe they're just in extremely piss poor health because of their nutrition. But there's always going to be some sort of an identifying feature to these people. And it's funny because you will be able to spot these people in a crowd. And we can always limit our time with them. We can always limit our interaction. The interaction that we're forced to have, you know, if it's a family member, then when we have family get-togethers, we go to a child's birthday party, something like that. Yeah, we can't avoid them, but we can prepare ourselves mentally how to go into that situation. Same thing with a coworker. We know that we're going to have to deal with that coworker on the days that we have to deal with them, and we can meditate and we can think about how sorry we are for this person, and we can change our perspective in the way that we see this person. You know, understanding that we can approach the situation from a position of empathy, instead of allowing that negativity to seep into our lives, to seep into our pores, and to build up misery for us. You know, how many people do you know? Maybe you are one of these people that's constantly chasing a new job. You show up, you're super excited that you got this job for like 3 years, a year, 2 years. And then the honeymoon wears off, and you're simply just disgruntled. You hate the opportunity. The money isn't enough anymore because lifestyle inflation crept up on you. You allowed your finances to just go completely in the shitter because of, I have to have it now, because of the next day shipping generation. We need that instant hit of dopamine. So then you end up going to another job, and then that job, it lasts 3-4 years, and then you're disgruntled, and you end up going and trying to find a new job. And you know, going out and finding a new job, a new job, that's not always a bad thing, because that's often how you are going to increase your wage. When you stay someplace too long, your boss isn't going to give you the raises that you deserve, or the raises that are fair and equitable. Your boss is going to give you just enough to keep you showing up every single day in, day out. And I'm not saying that that's a personal thing. I'm not knocking CEOs. I'm not knocking corporations, because it's a necessary thing. These corporations and in our jobs of business owners, they have to maintain a certain profit margin. They have to. There's no choice about it. There's no way around it. Otherwise, you won't have a job, and they won't have a business. They won't be able to grow their business. So in that situation, when you're out seeking better opportunities, that's different than leaving because you're disgruntled. You know, the relationships that you find yourself in. We get sick and tired of having a spouse. I should say society as a whole, society in general. How about that? Society in general. They get sick and tired of the relationship they're in. They think that there's going to be a better relationship out there. For whatever reason, they get disgruntled. Maybe they listen to their friends' negative speak. They go to work and they hear that one coworker talking shit about their spouse, so then they end up jumping on the bandwagon and talking shit about their partner or spouse as well. Because this shit happens all the time. You know, I've had coworkers that do nothing but talk shit about their spouse, and not once in the last 25 years have I jumped on that spouse shit talking along with that person. Not once. Because once something is said, once something is done, it cannot be undone. And when we say these things, then it goes down and seeps into our pores. Because this is a thought. These are things that are going to replay over and over and over in our heads, in our minds. And they're going to consume us to the point where we're ungrateful after that honeymoon wears off. Our work relations are the same. Our work relationships are the same. We don't look in the positive of the situation. Sometimes it's not easy to do. We forget because that honeymoon wore off. We forget how impactful and how important our JOB is. We forget how impactful this person's negative attitude is. And there again, we think that in both of these situations, or all of these relationship situations, that it's easier to just avoid that conflict. It's easier to just deal with it every day, day in, day out, than to just put that conflict to rest. Put that shit into bed and tuck it in and say goodnight, but tactfully. Because we simply have to choose our hard. When we walk away from somebody and we establish our boundaries, when we walk away from a situation that's nothing but piss poor for us, those people will begin to eventually respect us. It will eventually happen because we had the courage to step away. You know, in the employee or coworker environment, in the JOB environment, when you go to promote, say you want to promote to a supervisor of some sort, those same people that are disgruntled, they're the same people that walk around and they complain about how piss poor management is. They complain how everything is just completely fucked up all of the time at that place of employment. Nothing will ever make that person happy. But they're not willing to step up and become supervisor. They're not willing to take on that supervisory role and responsibilities that goes along with it and be the change that they want to see. Instead, they just take the easy way out. And then when you go to promote because you want to be the change, you want to affect the change that you want to see, then those people are going to talk shit to you. They're going to talk shit how you need to get out your knee pads, how you've gone to the dark side, how you're no longer a team and you're a traitor because you wanted to benefit your career and your future, because you were willing to step up and be the strength and the change that you want to see. Instead, those people, when they're talking shit to you and you tell them, hey, why don't you step up to supervisor? I think you would make a fantastic supervisor, to finally shut them up. Then they're going to have an excuse of why they can't promote. They're going to say things like, it doesn't matter. I can't affect that change. I won't be able to be a part of that change. I've seen it too many times where somebody promoted and they wouldn't allow them to change, or the upper management wouldn't allow them to change anything. And you know, that's nothing more than excuses or a cope, because it's not easy to step up into those roles. It's not easy to take on those roles and that responsibility, and they know it. But what is easy is blaming somebody else for our life's woes, blaming somebody else for all of the issues that we see wrong with the corporation or the company. That's easy. You know, I've been in the same job for 16 years. And not many people do that. A lot of people complain about never being able to retire, but they don't invest in themselves, they don't invest in their future, and they don't seek out employment that has a future. Instead, they're going to continuously jump JOB to JOB to JOB. And if you're doing that to increase and better your life, that's one thing. But if you're doing it to escape, then that's another. And I think if you're doing that to escape, then that's something that we need to look at within ourselves. Why are we constantly chasing something different? Why are we constantly trying to escape our environment? Why are we trying to escape our lives? We're doing that because we're afraid of that confrontation. We're doing that because we fear that conflict. We're doing that because we are not willing to look inside of ourselves to see what our wrong is, or to see what our role is in that conflict, or in that environment that we think is so toxic and negatively fulfilled. But when we're able to establish those boundaries, when we're able to wake up and realize that people are going to respect us once we just simply walk away, then everything will change for us. And that is a change that every single one of us can affect. So if you made it this far, do me a favor and go in the comments and write the word morale. Just that one word, morale. We are our own morale. We are the ones that are in control of our own morale. The way that we feel and our reaction to a situation, a person, a place, a thing, that is on us. That's one of the few things that we can often change. There are situations where we may not be able to. We have our fight or flight instincts that are organically and instinctively built into us. So there are situations where we can't control our reaction. But 99% of the time, we will be able to control our reaction. We will be able to control how we handle each and every situation. If we go into a situation knowing that something is going to be off, something is going to be different, if we go into a situation knowing that toxic person is going to be there, then don't you think that we can turn that situation into a positive thing and figure out how to get past that one particular person or situation? I do. In fact, I know that we can, because I do it. I've done it. Whether we like it or not, that one piss poor situation, or that one piss poor person who has a terrible life, who doesn't see any sort of meaning in life, who tries to portray it and instill it into you and make your life just as miserable as theirs, they're going to be there regardless. But we can walk away. And we can focus on ourselves. And as soon as we start focusing on ourselves, when we start focusing to better ourselves and our situation, then they're going to see from the outside in. They're going to see the change. People are going to see the change that you have affected, and they're going to admire it. Some might even become jealous. That happens as well, and I have experienced that many times. But it's powerful to walk away for your own morale. Your morale is your reaction to your situation and your scenario. Because each one of these situations and scenarios is yours and yours alone. And how we affect and how we react and how we deal with these interactions and these situations is 100% on us. So that's all I got for today, guys. I want to thank you guys for all those super thanks, the super chats that you guys are sending me, and it blows my mind. Thank you. I want to thank all of you guys for showing up. I hope you guys are showing up for yourselves, and I hope that each and every one of you has a wonderful day. Peace.